Good morning, everyone. Your morning weather briefing for this Tuesday, May 15th, shows that there are no major changes in the forecast, but I have made some modest adjustments today. Still an active weather pattern for the Corn Belt the next 2 weeks, but I have pared back rainfall amounts in that period. It's not an overly wet pattern for the Mid-South, though they will have a daily threat of widely scattered showers there for really the bulk of the 2 week time frame. Still looking at big rains to fall in the southeast as tropical moisture really moves into that area. Daily threat of rainfall somewhere in the hard red winter wheat belt for at least the next week or even 10 days. Most spots eventually picking up decent or even significant totals. And if anything, I think that my forecast today is modestly wetter for the hard red winter wheat belt. Nice rain is going to be seen in a lot of the northern plains for Thursday or Friday of this week, as that forecast continues to trend a little bit wetter for especially eastern portions of the northern plains. Looking at the rainfall and temperature outlooks this morning, again, no real big differences versus what I had yesterday, especially with regards to temperatures. You can see, though, with regards to the rainfall forecast in the bottom left there for the 6 to 10 and 11 to 15 day periods, that I am going for a lot less in the way of aerial coverage of above normal rainfall amounts in the middle of the country versus what I had yesterday. So, again, the emphasis on the weather pattern still active in the middle of the country, just a little bit less enamored today with the actual rainfall amounts that we are going to be seeing, especially in the Corn Belt over the next 2 weeks. QPF discussion for the 1 to 5 day time frame. No major disagreements versus what is shown here. If I were to have drawn this map myself, maybe I would have gone for lesser rainfall amounts, a little bit lesser coverage in the plain states and into the western Corn Belt, but again, not to the point where I'm going to be making a major argument against what is shown. Easily your biggest rains are going to be seen in southeastern portions of the nation as tropical air floods into that area. A lot of the rain that is shown for the central and northern plains and for the western Corn Belt is going to be in the second half of this time frame, so still plenty of time for that forecast to be adjusted. For the day 6 to 7 day period, no real disagreement with where the map here is showing the best rains to fall, although I would probably have a bigger portion of the northern Corn Belt in drier weather than what is shown here. Chances for widely scattered rain is going to continue in this time frame for especially the afternoon and evening hours for southeastern portions of the Corn Belt, the mid-south, southeast, and portions of the hard red winter wheat belt. High temperatures yesterday, another hot one for southern portions of the Corn Belt. You can see the 90 plus degree temperatures there across large sections of Illinois and Indiana. More 90s yesterday in the southern plains as well, and also an extensive area of 90 plus degree temperatures in the mid-south and also for the southeast. Most of those areas seeing temperatures yesterday running 10 plus degrees above normal. 18-hour rainfall through 1 o'clock this morning. A couple of pockets of significant rainfall, several half to inch and a half rainfall amount reports in northeastern portion of the Corn Belt. Another pocket of some half to inch and a half rainfall amounts and locally heavier in southeastern sections of Kansas. Radar estimated rainfall since 7 o'clock yesterday morning easily shows those two pockets as well. Rainfall in the northeastern Corn Belt for that area really not wanted, but the rainfall that occurred yesterday and overnight in portions of Missouri, southeastern Kansas certainly welcome. Any of the scattered rains that occurred in the hard red winter wheat belt during the last 24 hours clearly very welcome for that area as well. A look at the radar this morning shows that we are still seeing widely scattered areas of rainfall across portions of the hard red winter wheat belt, portions of the western Corn Belt, and still portions of the northeastern Corn Belt as well. Expectations for the crop progress report next week. I was too low on the numbers yesterday and thus had to adjust numbers higher for next Monday's expectations. Now looking for a national corn planting progress figure of 79 to 80% done for next Monday's report. Looking for spring wheat progress at 88 to 90% done. As far as the forecast is concerned, this is a look at surface features as predicted by the European model for late in the day or into the evening hours on Thursday. Widely scattered thunder showers at that time across southeastern portions of the Corn Belt into the mid-south. Tropical moisture flow still bringing considerable rainfall at that time into southeastern portions of the nation. Widely scattered late afternoon and evening thunder showers at that time in the hard red winter wheat belt, and some more significant rain starting to kick off at that time in northern portions of the plain states. When looking at 5-day rainfall totals for the period ending on Tuesday, you can see that weather system that is kicking off rains in the northern plains for late in the day on Thursday is one that is going to be eventually producing some nice and fairly significant rains across a lot of that area. That would be mainly for the Thursday, Friday time frame in eastern portion of the northern plains, and mainly for the Friday, Saturday time frame for far western and far northwestern portion of the Corn Belt. Again, an area that is looking to see significant and locally heavy amounts of rainfall. Widely scattered rains in that period for portions of the hard red winter wheat belt, an area that probably has a rainfall threat during any day during the next week or even 10 days, situation where they're going to be seeing widely scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Southeastern portions of the nation still looking at quite a tropical moisture flow throughout the next week anyway, if not longer than that, so significant and even heavier rains there. Middle of the country into a large portion of the Corn Belt, Mid-South. Widely scattered showers and thunderstorms possible in a lot of that area on virtually a daily basis. Probably the best chances for rain in that area that I just monitored there, mainly for coming up for about Friday through the weekend, but even then, nothing real big in the way of rainfall, certainly no big system. So again, just kind of emphasizing the point where the weather pattern is still fairly active in the nation's midsection, but again, just kind of getting overall a little bit less enamored with rainfall totals coming up for especially the Corn Belt. As we get towards the middle of next week, this is look at surface features from the various models as of 7 p.m. in the day on Wednesday, May 23rd. You can see again widely scattered rains still indicated from the various models in a big portion of the nation's midsection. Again, emphasizing that the weather pattern overall still looking relatively active for the next 10 days to 2 weeks. But again, you can see that there's no real strong surface features at that time, no big area of significant rainfall indicated over any portion of the nation's midsection. So again, emphasizing this morning, the weather pattern is still very, very active for the next week to 10 days. There's no shortages of rain systems to monitor. For southeastern portions of the nation, rainfall totals the next week to 10 days, if not longer than that, quite heavy as a big moisture feed comes into that area. For the hard red winter wheat belt, I would say that overall my forecast today is somewhat wetter than it was yesterday. A daily threat of widely scattered showers and thunderstorms there for the next week to 10 days, if not longer than that. Again, the emphasis on any day, scattered in nature, but over the course of the next 10 days to 2 weeks, a lot of that area likely to see decent or even significant rainfall totals. For the northern plains, a little bit wetter forecast there as well, with some very significant rainfall totals expected in the northern plains for especially Thursday, Friday of this week before that area dries out for Saturday and into the weekend. For the Corn Belt, again, an active weather pattern for the next 2 weeks, no shortage of rainfall chances. A lot of the area looking to see fairly significant rainfall over the next 2 weeks, as you can see here by looking at 15-day rainfall totals. When you look at the rainfall totals shown by the GFS ensemble, by the Canadian ensemble, by the European ensemble for the next 2 weeks, it's clearly not anything close to a dry weather pattern for the Corn Belt. But again, today I'm just kind of emphasizing that I'm just becoming less enamored with the type of rainfall totals that we are going to be seeing. A lot of the area going to be seeing over an inch of rainfall, locally over 2 inches of rainfall during the next 2 weeks. So it's a long ways from dry. But again, the fact that we're not going to be seeing any real big major storm systems impacting the Corn Belt, instead we're going to be seeing the rainfall mainly on a widely scattered basis on several days during that time frame, just makes me overall a little bit less enamored with the type of rainfall amounts and the type of rainfall coverage that we're going to be seeing, and especially the Corn Belt during the next 2-week time frame. As far as temperatures are concerned, still looking at heat to be pared back a little bit in the near term. The 90-degree temperatures that have been so common in recent days in southern portions of the Corn Belt are going to be not largely seen for today through Friday. And even in the Mid-South, another very warm day with highs in the 90s for this Tuesday. But even for the Mid-South, the 90-plus degree temperatures are going to be coming a little bit less common there for tomorrow through Friday. As we get towards Saturday, once again, though, quite a temperature contrast develops. developing. A 90 plus degree heat once again going to be seen across a large portion of the southern Corn Belt, southern plains, and back into the mid south. But notice that just to the northwest of there, that temperatures are going to be much cooler. Some pockets of the central plains and into the northwestern Corn Belt just seeing highs in the 50s on Saturday. So once again, a temperature contrast developing that day that should enhance whatever rain is seen in the middle of the country on Saturday. Overall, though, the forecast is generally speaking quite warm for the next 2 weeks. The cool weather that we are going to be seeing dropping southward across especially the central and northern plains, western and northwestern Corn Belt for especially late this week through about Monday of next week is really still the only cool weather in the 2 week forecast. Already by next Tuesday, which is what I'm showing by these maps here, the temperature anomalies for next Tuesday showing widespread above normal temperatures already by that time across large portions of the nation, and that is above normal temperatures that are likely to continue for that same area for the rest of the 2 week forecast. Internationally, no real changes this morning in Brazil. Normal to below normal rainfall for the safrinha corn areas of Brazil for the next 2 weeks. Still a situation where northern portions of that growing area is going to be your driest, with a lot of that area seeing less than a half inch of rainfall for the next 2 weeks. Your better rainfall chances further south, and some of that rainfall is already going to be starting to fall for later on today in Paraná and Mato Grosso do Sul, and they will have rainfall chances there through Saturday, and fairly significant rainfall amounts are expected for that area from later on today through Friday, and then that area is looking at about a week of dry weather again starting on Saturday before some rainfall chances potentially return to that area again for late in the 11 to 15 day period. Over in Europe, I wanted to mention some 48-hour rainfall totals this morning that have been quite good over the last couple of days across a sizable portion of the wheat areas of Germany, a sizable portion of the wheat and corn areas of France, a good portion of that area seeing some half to inch and a half rainfall amounts over the last 48 hours. All of that rain clearly beneficial for an area that had been running somewhat subnormal on rainfall amounts in recent weeks. The 2 week forecast for Europe still a situation where, like yesterday, the forecast calls for a generally below normal rainfall in Western Europe, but some above normal rainfall amounts in the east. Best rainfall amounts looking to be over Poland and points southward from there. For the former Soviet Union, still not a case where I'm looking at the wettest weather pattern that I've ever seen for the wintergreen areas of the former Soviet Union, but generally speaking, normal to perhaps a bit above normal rainfall there over the next 2 weeks, with that rainfall pretty evenly divided between the 1 to 5, 6 to 10, and 11 to 15 day period. Canada could use some rainfall right now, but it is clearly still not in the forecast. Dry weather going to be seen in Canada for today and tomorrow. Some modest rain is going to be falling for Thursday and Friday, and the bulk of the rainfall that is shown in this map from the European model is what is going to be seen for the Thursday-Friday time frame of this week, as it looks like it's going to be returning to completely dry weather on the Canadian prairies for Saturday and throughout the 6 to 10 day period. You can see that the European model is suggesting just generally light rain for the Thursday-Friday time frame of this week, and I would not be surprised at all if even the rains that are shown here by the European model might be somewhat overstated. In Australia, still a decidedly dry weather pattern there, drier than normal for their winter wheat areas for the next 2 weeks, as you can see by the rainfall percent of normal map there on the left. European rainfall totals, European model 10-day rainfall totals shown on the right. You can see that for much of the winter wheat area, completely no rain going to be seen there for the entire 10-day time frame. It could possibly last even longer than that. That's what I have for this morning. Everyone have themselves a great day.